Hello and welcome back to the video lectures on replacement models. So in this model, we'll start with the second model and probably the last model in this unit, which is replacement of items that fail suddenly. And in this video, I will give a brief introduction to this model, and I have recorded another video that covers the example based on this model. Let us first understand what are the implications of failing suddenly. As you should be aware that systems consist of several or large amounts of low cost components such as resistors, pumps, condensers. For example, a TV set consists of large amount of resistors. Even if you take a laptop, it consists of several resistors. Another example is power plant. In a power plant, typically there are several pumps and condenser installed. The cost of these items is low, but when any one of them stops functioning, then the cost of failure itself is much significant as compared to the cost of a single of these components. This is because there might be a loss of production because as one of these low cost items stop functioning, a huge portion of a power plant or a TV stop functioning, because of which there is a loss of production and idle labor and wastages, etc. And hence many organizations implements a preventive replacement. The meaning of preventive replacement is that even though these low cost items are not failed, they are periodically replaced after a certain interval t. To determine this interval t of replacement, companies may consider the probability distribution of failures of these components in the past, and hence the objective of studying replacement models or replacement analysis is that we want to find out the optimal value t which minimizes the total cost. So eventually we'll come to know that we will be finding this interval of duration t after which this replacement should be done in order to avoid the system wide failure. Okay, so there are two types of replacement policy. First is individual replacement policy, which is also known as remedial policy, which means that once a particular component is failed, let's say that a pump has stopped functioning. After the pump has stopped functioning, the company will replace that pump. Okay, so this is a remedial action. That means the failure has already occurred, and then the company is replacing the pump to restore the functioning of the plant. Second policy is group replacement policy, which is actually a combination of individual and group replacement policy. And this is a kind of preventive policy, which means that uh, even though these low cost items like resistors, pumps, etc., are not failed, they are still replaced after a certain interval of time, avoiding the system wide failure. Okay, so that's why this is a preventive replacement policy. And in group replacement policy, even though the company replaces the low cost item after a certain interval of time, if before this interval or during this interval a single component fails, then that component is replaced gradually, individually. Okay, so remember that in individual replacement policy, the cost of replacement is higher as compared to the group replacement policy, because when you are replacing in a group, you may get bulk discounts. So this is the replacement policy for group replacement. And the company should replace all items in a system if this inequality is satisfied after a period of time t. Okay, so this t is the unit of time, and it might be either a day, a week, a month, or year, whatever. So if this condition is satisfied, then company must replace all items after an interval of time small t, plus if any individual item fails during this period, then company should replace that individual item with by paying a cost C2. So as you can see, C2 here at the bottom, the cost of individual replacement, and C1 is the cost of group replacement or cost of a single item when it is replaced in group. Okay, so naturally C2 will be greater than C1 because when you are buying items in bulk, then the supplier gives a discount. However, you are buying a single item, then you may have to pay a higher price. That's why C2 will be most likely greater than C1. Okay, so there is a trade-off here. If let's say the company is considering replacement policy on weekly basis, so this is first week, second week, third week, fourth week, fifth week, and sixth week, and so on. And let's say if the uh, according to a replacement policy, the company has to replace all items whether they are failed or not every 2 weeks. Okay, so company replaces all the items after every 2 weeks whether they are failed or not, plus if any individual component fails during this period, then that component will be replaced individually with a cost of C2 per unit. So that means every 2 week company pays uh, a cost of CT, and a cost of CT. Okay, or average cost will be CT divided by 2 because a company is replacing the items in group every 2 weeks. So this will be the average cost of replacement. And if this frequency is less, let's say for example, instead of replacing every 2 weeks, the company considers to replace every 4 weeks. So fourth week and eighth week and 12th week and so on. Then after every 4 weeks, the company will have to pay C1, sorry, CT, not C1T, CT, VCT divided by 4. Okay, but then if this frequency is less, that means now the frequency has lowered down from every 2 weeks to every 4 weeks, then the likelihood of failure of individual items increases. That means during a period of 4 weeks, company may have to pay more for replacing items individually. Okay, so what is the trade-off here? If the frequency of group replacement is frequent, then the cost of group replacement will be more and cost of individual replacement will be less. And if the frequency of group replacement is low after every 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and 8 weeks, then the cost of group replacement will be less, but the cost of individual replacement might be more. And hence, this is trade-off involved in this equation inherently. Okay, so this is the condition, and I hopefully you have gained an insight into what exactly we are looking here in this inequality. Okay, so let me erase everything. And finally, this is the statement of the replacement policy. You can read it by pausing the video. In the next video, we will solve an example based upon this group replacement policy. So see you in the next video.